Hey everybody, this is Minion Soldier, and this is a Piracy Show. Now, once again, we're going to kind of do a two-topic show. One that's more or less piracy related, and then something that's more or less general Star Citizen related. But I wanted to start off with the somewhat piracy related one first, and that is this ship here, the Vanguard. Now, for all the for all the criticism that's been heaped on the ship as of late, and I mean, and there's plenty of it. There's criticism in regards of it, appearance. There's criticism in regards to implementation, yada yada yada. But one of the great strengths of this ship, and one of the things that it just it's like that thread that just keeps it hanging on with me, is those centrally located guns in the nose. That is such a brilliant piece of design. Now, whether that was something that was inherited from the P-38 unintentionally when they used it as kind of like an idea for how to make the Vanguard, or whether that was like an artist making kind of like an engineering choice. I'm gonna kind of lean towards it was kind of like, well, this is the way it is on the P-38, so this is the way I'm gonna make it on the ship, and unintentionally kind of showing the strength of having weapons concentrated, especially when you have fixed weapons, having them all concentrated like this. In this combat footage here, I'm actually I've downgraded the gun slung under the nose to basically be an M4A laser, giving me all my guns at one aiming point, because the M4A is the literal equivalent of what you have in the nose. So basically everything is firing at one single point in space, and you're going to see the strength of that because I have taken what would be a size 4 gun, I've downgraded it to a size 2, and I'm not really seeing any performance loss whatsoever because of the strength of having all these weapons concentrated. And that's always been one of my big pet peeves in regards to Star Citizen, is this sort of notion that the guns have to be all around the ship. With fighters, certainly with the Super Hornet, things like that. When the guns are all kind of around the ship. Now, if you have gimbaled weapons, that's not so much of a problem. But when you tell people, well, it's okay, you can upsize them by switching them to fixed weapons, it's kind of a stealth nerf because those guns are now spread out and firing in a straight line in front of the ship. So whereas you might be hitting with one gun or two guns, a lot of that fire, whether it be just ballistic ammunition or just energy weapons, a lot of that fire is then wasted because of the shitty placement of the guns on the ship. And I mean, that's really not something, it's not really something, a matter of taste or a matter of choice. I mean, it's a matter of fact. When you spread guns out like that, it just doesn't do anything for accuracy, and it wastes a lot of firepower. And that's always been kind of one of my bigger pet peeves with Star Citizen. I think that if you ask a lot of pilots and you say, okay, if you had a Super Hornet but you wanted to upsize the wing guns to size 3s and all of that, I mean, would you prefer to have sort of like a gun pod that you could kind of snap on underneath the fighter and just have all those guns within almost like a tight 1 meter square firing arc aimed forward? I think most pilots would agree, hell yeah, that's exactly what I would want. And certainly, when you have so many different mixed types of weapons with such wide disparities in the projectile velocity, which creates these secondary aiming points, and it just complicates matters even further. I would rather have uniform weapons with one aiming point. I would rather focus all my firepower into one point, which is kind of what I'm doing here. And it's still a very strong way to play, and I'm getting through Vandal Swarm just as easily as I would if I were using an M, what is it, an M5A? M6A is what we got, which is the biggest one we can stick in that slot. If you have a Connie, you can strip off an M6A. But it just kind of showcases that, I I don't want to say blunder, but I mean, it showcases kind of the weakness of an artistic choice over an engineering choice. And it's one of the reasons why I still think that the Vanguard has potential. Just it's unrealized potential. Now, I kind of want to stay away from the whole balancing thing because obviously, I mean, there's you go to the you go to the Aegis forums in the shipyard and you go to the Vanguard sub forum and there's a lot of people with a lot of interesting ideas on how to fix the Vanguard. Some of which are, I mean, not really practical ideas. Some of which are, there are some really good ideas, but I still hold that the biggest thing that you need to do for the Vanguard is just make it faster. Even if you keep the weapons just the way they are now, make this ship faster and let people choose the weapons in the nose. Now, you've already got these kind of odd modeled guns that are in the nose, but you could just take that one model and say, okay, here's the version of that for the GT, what is it, 870s. Here's the model of that for the Amniski. Here's the model of that. They all look the same, but it's got different, guts, quote unquote, inside of it, representing the different, weapons that you can fit in a size 2. I think that would be a really good move for CIG, and I think that that would really kind of showcase the ship in the strongest way possible. And that one of the other reasons I'm still holding on to it is just the Sentinel, the E-War version. I really, really want to see how that's going to turn out. I really want to see what E-War is going to be, and I think the idea of a big ship like this with E-War capabilities can certainly be very, very strong. And I'm just kind of, I'm dying to see how that's all going to go. And that, I mean, given the range, which we really don't have quantity on, so we don't really know how far is far and how long is long range, but I still hold out hope for the Vanguard. Now, whether that's going to last a very long time, I don't know, but I still see a lot of potential with this ship, and so I don't want to pronounce it as like dead, but certainly the way it's implemented now, I mean, you can see right now what I'm doing with these guns. Imagine if they followed through with some of the recommendations was, oh, just make them more resilient and more maneuverable. Imagine this thing with this much focused firepower in Arena Commander with even more resiliency and more maneuverability. And the added bonus of, like, I'm not even using the top turret here. Imagine if you had two people, one person in the top turret. Imagine what this thing would do then. And obviously it would kick ass, but possibly kick a little too much ass and be a little unfair. Is that exactly the way we want to go with it? Some people I'm sure would be like, hell yeah, but I think for game balancing it would probably be a bad idea. So for the time being, I think what I'm going to do, and obviously, like, I've shown a bunch of ships on my channel. Some ships I haven't shown. Um, I think when I make my decisions as to like the final composition of my hangar, and as I start to sort of pick out the losers and keep the winners, I'm still hopeful that the Vanguard, and specifically the Vanguard Sentinel version, is going to be a good ship. I'm I'm hopeful that that's the way it's going to turn out. Now, whether or not it becomes that, I don't know. So I'm indecisive, and maybe I'm rambling a little, but I still think that there's a good ship here. They just need to chisel away a little of the excess still. But I really do think that there's some solid potential for the money spent in this ship. Now, let's move on to the second topic. And the second topic is somewhat of a surprise topic because I didn't even know I was going to do the second topic until I accidentally found this video. Now, the video in question is with Rob Irving, formerly of CIG. He was always a popular guest on Wingman's Hangar. And I'm going to put the link to the video in the description below. I'm not going to actually show the video because I think you should go to the person's channel and watch it. It's a very interesting interview where he talks about the reasons why he left CIG. You know, he left to go and make their Descent game. You know, I think they recently just went past fund. You know, they got their funding and now they're out actively developing the game. And it kind of skirts around, you know, the Star Citizen scandal of last year and all of that stuff. And it deals with, you know, it deals with why he left. And I mean, certainly I think I think it'd actually be easier to kind of talk about this after you've seen the video. So if you're still watching now, go to the link in the description, watch the video, or you know what, I'll even put like a nice link on top of the on the video, and you guys can go check it out, and then come back. All right, well, you're back. Okay, good. So, you know, of the topics dealt with in the video. Now, I've always skirted the Star Citizen scandal. I've always kind of avoided it, and the reason being is that intermingled with some of the criticisms that were leveled with CIG. I mean, there were certain claims that were, I would say, erroneous, and there were certain personal attacks that went on, part and parcel with that whole thing, that I don't really kind of condone. Now, I would say that, you know, having watched so many hours of, you know, video regarding Star Citizen, you know, produced by CIG, and you know, seeing all of the people who work at CIG's personalities, there are certain personalities at CIG that do rub me the wrong way, and there are other personalities that I enjoy very much. The people that when they talk, I'm just like, okay, I am listening to you word for word. I'm trying to collect everything, and then there are certain people, obviously, that I just kind of go like, oh god. But you know, when Rob Irving was one of those people that I would always listen to very intently. So his opinion obviously matters to me. And he talks a lot about, you know, kind of the scope of the game getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and not exactly being a healthy thing for the game. And I think in terms of delivering the game on time, in terms of, you know, getting things, you know, out to the players in a timely manner, I certainly think that that is true. 100% I agree with that. I really, really do. I think that had Star Citizens, you know, stuck to kind of its original idea in its original scope, going all the way back to the original campaign, and what was it? You know, we had, if we can hit $23 million, then the game is done, and we've got all the money we need to really make the game. And then, of course, you know, we're well past $23 million now, and things have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. But I think a lot of that bigger has been kind of eaten up by Squadron 42, which, I mean, arguably could be said, well, that is more or less stuff that's going into Star Citizen, because so much of what's in Squadron 42 is going to be the stuff that lays the groundwork for Star Citizen. So Star Citizen is just getting better because of Squadron 42, and certainly that's true. But obviously, all that money coming in has delayed the game. So I do agree with Rob Irving on that point. But, and this is the big but. Um, I think that in the long term, with more of a long term view, I think we're a little bit better off. Now, I might live to regret these words. I certainly have in the past. But, you know, if you look back at the gaming industry over the last 10 years, think of it this way. How many games have come out where people have said, is this the WoW killer? Is this the game that's finally going to knock World of Warcraft off its throne? And it's going to destroy it. And there's lightsabers in this one. And this one has more talent choices than World of Warcraft has. And this one has a more innovative, PvP system. And la 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 la. And where are all these games now? If they're still alive, they're free to play. Right? And they're surviving off of microtransaction cheese, and they're just, really, they might have had one or two innovative features, but was it enough to capture people's imaginations? Was it enough to kind of make people go like, holy shit? No. But WoW was that game, right? WoW was that game. WoW was that game that when WoW came out, everyone was just like, holy fucking shit. Because before that, there had been like EverQuest and other shit like that. But then when WoW came out, everyone just went like, whoa. This whole thing just changed and got turned on its head because someone actually stepped in and said, oh, we're going to do bigger. And we're going to do better. And we're going to do, it's going to be this, that, and the other thing. And I mean, that's another company that, has enormously long wait times for their titles. I mean, remember how long we were looking at Diablo 3 trailers before we ever got to play Diablo 3? And we were seeing, like, in-game footage, playable in-game footage almost 3 years before we were actually playing the game, right? I mean, and once again, another game that just kind of took it to that next level. Not so much the way WoW did, and certainly its recent history hasn't kind of really given us any idea that it'll have the longevity that WoW did or has. The court is, the jury's still out on that one. But the truth is that even though I talk about Star Citizen, I've got other things to keep me occupied, so I can afford a little extra patience. I've got other things to do, so I'm not, balls to the wall, like, I need this game next week, I need it, I need it, I need it, I need it. There's a lot of things that aren't in Star Citizen yet that obviously need to be done and need to be done right. Now, does that mean that more time taken means that Star Citizen is going to launch perfectly? I think it's going to launch better than most games because we're already technically playing a version of it. So I think the chances of us getting a fully functional final product are a lot better because of the time taken. I think it's certainly going to be a much deeper game than most of the games that we play. And so I hold out hope that Star Citizen, with all the extra time, is just going to end up being a better game. And the fact that we get to play through all of this stuff, I think it's also going to make us, better players for when the game goes live. Now, that's not to say that my patience is infinite, but I have high hopes for Star Citizen, so I'm willing to wait. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the show.